Marlins, right? Because they had a terrible week. The White Sox, they pulled off the sweep today, sweeping Tampa, right? So let's give them a bit of a break. Let's start with the Marlins. Getting swept by both the Nationals and the Braves this week. They've lost 6 in a row overall. Jazz Chisholm hit another grand slam. I mean, I'm just saying, I actually looked it up today. I'm like, how many grand slams has Jazz Chisholm hit? That's his 3rd grand slam in his career, his 2nd this year. It kind of made me look into the all-time grand slam leaders. I remember, back in the 2000s, I remember Manny Ramirez, he was starting to get up there a little bit. I think he has 21 or 22 career grand slams of all time. That just boggles my mind. Alex Rodriguez, 25 grand slams. The most ever in a career. Like, that's just mind-boggling. 25 grand slams. Are you kidding me? Anyway, that's pretty much all the Marlins had going for them today. At number 29, I did have the Marlins, but we are going to put the White Sox here because the White Sox, they had themselves a fun weekend. I mean, we got to give them a lot of credit here. Where are the White Sox on my thing? Here we go. There are the White Sox. So, like I said, they swept Tampa this weekend. They got swept by the Twins earlier in the week. But, man, they had a great weekend. Andrew Benintendi had himself a great weekend, had the walk-off home run Saturday night, and then they scored 9 runs Friday night, got the win today. How about the White Sox having a little fun this weekend? Gotta love it. Colorado, they were in Mexico this weekend and losing both to the Astros. They did split with the Padres earlier this week. I'm really only going to spotlight one guy here. We got Brenton Doyle, very hot lately. Over his last 7 games, Doyle is hitting .423, a .487 on base, a .577 slugging. Having himself a pretty good year so far, hitting .323 and .873 OPS with 3 home runs. Not bad. Yeah, that's an under-the-radar guy. If you're doing fantasy baseball out there, you're looking for a waiver wire pickup, he is hot. That might be a guy, maybe throw him on your bench, maybe get him a start over the next couple of days. So another guy that is hot, but this team is not very hot. We got the Angels. Another down week. I think they're 10-18 now. The Angels. Please just trade Mike Trout. Please. Figure it out. Eat money on that contract. My goodness, can we please see Mike Trout on a new team this year? It's just, my goodness. Please trade him. Joe Adell, though, he is hot for the Angels right now. Joe Adell has finally come alive, ladies and gentlemen. It is nice to see former top prospect finally getting it going. I think there were people out there that had given up on Joe Adell, but over his last 7 games, hitting .435, a .519 on base, .783 on the slugging, 2 home runs. Overall in the year has a .974 OPS and 3 home runs. So Joe Adell, glad to see he is getting it going. Unfortunately, the Angels are not getting it going. Maury's Life, $1.99 Super Chat. Giants should be 30. No, Giants had themselves a pretty good week. Giants had a good week. I got to disagree with you there. I can't believe this next one. I can't believe the Astros are at number 26. Like, this is unbelievable to me. Sure, they won the weekend in the Mexico series. Framber Valdez came back today. Good to see him back. Let's see if maybe that rotation can start solidifying itself a little bit. Verlander's back now. Valdez is back. Blanco was doing all right. You got to get Javier back, right? So let's see if this rotation can start to keep it together. That is going to be key for the Astros moving forward. But, still, like, not a great week overall, getting swept by Chicago. Verlander, he did look pretty good against the Cubs. He did go into the 5th inning. He had 7 strikeouts at that point. He's off to a pretty good start. First start, I believe, was against the Nationals. Had 6 strong innings there. So Verlander is looking decent. Blanco did pick up a win against the Rockies this weekend. But right now, I promise you, I'm not just putting the Astros here to just try and get some clicks. It's really not that. It's just when you look at the numbers, starting pitching, it does not rank well. Bullpen, I mean, go look at the ERAs of Hader and Presley. Sure, their FIPS are a lot lower, but, go look at Brian Abreu as well. Brian Abreu not doing well, right? So this isn't, I promise you, this isn't like any sort of like a clickbait kind of a thing. The Astros are just not great, even when you look at the numbers. Ahead of them, I do have, where am I here? We got the Oakland A's. How about the Oakland A's this weekend? It looked like, okay, they were starting to come back down to earth. I was starting to think that last week. Like, okay, we had our fun with the Oakland A's. They picked up a few wins. And they won 2 out of 3 in Baltimore. They split with the Yankees this week. They're 12-17, sure, losing record. But remember what I said. You know, I never said the Oakland A's are going to be this team that's going to, you know, contend for a playoff spot. But I have been on record saying I think Oakland could have a fun team this year. I think they could be a team that, you know, they're not just going to lay down and just die, right? They're not going to lay down and just roll over, right? This is a team, you got to think here, you know, pretty much everyone in the land, anywhere that knows baseball, anyone that knows baseball, you say Oakland A's and automatically people coming into the year said, oh yeah, they're bottom of the barrel. They are just terrible. Yeah. So I feel so sorry for Oakland fans. They're going to Vegas. You had nothing good to say about Oakland. You know, myself too. It's, you know, or the Oakland A's, I mean. But I did remember saying, you know, like, hey, they do have some fun players on this team. You know, they got some young talent. Let's see what they can do. And they're not rolling over here, and it's good to see. I like that. It's like they got a chip on their shoulder. It's like, you know what? We might not be the most talented team out here, but we're going to go out there and play hard, and we're going to compete, right? Kyle McCann, go-ahead home run of the 9th today. How about that? He was the number 35 prospect on Fangraphs coming into this year. More of a raw power kind of a guy, and, well, we saw that power today on full display. Brent Rooker with a couple of home runs this week. Lawrence Butler over the last 7 games, a 200 WRC plus. He's hitting well. Daryl Hernandez has been hitting well. You know, hey, give it up for Oakland a little bit, man. Who knows where they go moving forward, but you know what? It's nice to see that they're not in the bottom 3. I'll give them that. However, these next couple of teams here, Tampa Bay. Listen, I have also been on record coming into this year. If there was ever a year for Tampa Bay to have a down year, of course, I'd pick them to make the playoffs this year because it's like they always seem to figure it out every year. But I have said, if there was a year where they did not prove everyone wrong yet again, this would be the year, because no Glasnow, no Wander Franco, you know, that's a lot of talent that you're losing. You know, say what you will about Franco, of course, horrible, disgusting situation, but the player that he was, right? He brought a lot to that team. And when you lose him, sure, Ahmed Rosario's been pretty good this year, but you're losing a big-time player, man. They just don't seem to have any juice with this team. It just seems pretty empty. It's a weird feeling. Like the Rays this year, every year the Rays, I always hate the idea of having to play Tampa. But they don't scare me. I don't know what it is. They just feel like there's nothing there. There's no juice. Getting swept by the White Sox, losing 2 of 3 to the Tigers this past week. You know, Paredes, Rosario, they've been hitting well. But Randy Rosarena, this guy's off to a bad start. He seems like a guy that, I don't know, man. You know, let's say the Rays are, you know, maybe not there at the deadline. I wonder if a Rosarena maybe could be a trade piece. We'll see. He's off to a really bad start. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but he needs to get this turned around. You know, I actually featured him in a video that I did this past weekend on guys that need to step it up. So let's see. The pitching has been really up and down. Little was okay today, but he gave up 5 against the Tigers this past week. Savali got rocked against the White Sox. Pepio was pretty good against the Tigers. Alexander, Eflin, they've been okay too. It's just an up and down team right now. They just don't seem to have an identity, if that's the right way to say it. Up next, we got the Blue Jays. Weird team right now with this Blue Jays team. Maybe this is a little low, but I don't know. I feel like I want to feature other teams that are just playing better right now, and this might be a little low for the Blue Jays. I agree with you. CWE, I see you in the chat. I think Blue Jays are too low. I think they could be, but right now they're not inspiring me. They're just not giving me. Gausman looked good today. I will say that. Gausman, he pitched really well today. 7 innings, 1 earned. Kikuchi was pretty good his last time out. Barrios is having himself a good year. But this offense right now, they are slumping heavily. 27th in WRC plus in the last 7. I don't know, man. They're just not playing great baseball. They split with KC. Obviously the Dodgers are a good team. You lose 2 out of 3. I just feel like they haven't really playing all that great as of late, man. I don't know. The Blue Jays, they're just not inspiring me all that much. Number 22, we got the Cardinals. Hey, pretty good week for the Cardinals. Let me actually pull up here the standings really quick just to make sure. They're hanging around, man, in the early going, right? Well, I mean, it is the Central. All of these teams are hanging around. But, they're still 4.5. But they've won a couple of games this past week, right? Won a couple against the Mets this weekend, Diamondbacks. The offense has been okay. Paul Goldschmidt, Wilson, they've been contributing. Burleson's been hitting well. Gorman's been hitting well. I will say, though, Jordan Walker, optioned. Going to AAA, back down, 2nd straight year. I don't know. I feel like Jordan Walker eventually is going to figure it out. But right now it seems like he's going through, he's going through some issues at the major league level, but I think he's going to be fine. Expect him to be back up at some point. The pitching has been up and down for the Cardinals. Sonny Gray has looked really good. Sonny Gray is looking like one of the better pickups from this past offseason. Look out for a video this week. I'm going to do the best offseason editions so far. I did one last week, the worst offseason edition so far. So I'm going to do the best ones this coming week. That one's going to be a lot easier to do, I think. Gibson, Michaelis, they picked up W's this week, but Steven Matz, he got rocked against Arizona. Lance Lynn, though, he looked pretty good today. He was pretty good through 5 innings. He had a pretty rough 6th inning there. But yeah, the Cardinals right now, I'm feeling the number 22 spot for St. Louis. So, number 21, I got the Nationals. This is another team. I told you all, coming into this year, keep an eye out for Washington. This is a team that got young players, and, they're kind of doing a couple of good things here, right? C.J. Abrams is the big one. C.J. Abrams having a great year. I don't know what he's looking like in the waiver wire when it comes to fantasy out there. I'm not sure how available he is, but if he is out there on the waiver wire, go pick him up. If he's a free agent out there, go pick him up. He's got a 979 OPS, hitting 296 on the year, 5 homers, 5 stolen bases. This is the C.J. Abrams we've been waiting for. Off to a great start. But for the Nationals, a very up and down week, getting swept by the Dodgers, but then they swept the Marlins this past weekend. So, also, Jacob Young. I want to spotlight Jacob Young. Hitting 333, a 375 on base, 10 stolen bases. This is a guy that's been sneaky good for them. Trey Lipscomb, he's been pretty good too. How about Mitchell Parker? He's been stepping up for the Nationals. He's been really solid through 3 starts. 16 innings, a 1.69 ERA, a 1.78 FIP, 1.1 walks per 9. Those are pretty solid numbers. I'm just saying. Hey, I see you in the chat. Mariners World, Jesse Winker, he's been stepping up for them this year too. But that concludes 21 through 30. We are moving right along here. Let's go to number 20. We got Pittsburgh. We got the Pirates. Not really a whole lot to talk about with the Pirates here. Split with the Brewers. Losing 2 of 3 to the Giants this weekend. Offense has been lackadaisical. Not really too much going on with the Pirates' offense this week. I do want to spotlight Jared Jones. 5 innings, 3 earned today. But then against Milwaukee this past week, 6 innings, 7 Ks. The Pirates right now, they got off to that really good start, just like last year, and then they kind of tailed off a little bit. But, they got the split with Milwaukee this week. So, hey, Pirates, I think 20 is a good spot. I think this is a team, there's a lot of young talent here, right? And they got guys. They're very capable of helping this team contend. Now, a lot of people are waiting for Paul Skeens, and I actually had someone, I did a video as well this past weekend, prospects that need to be called up now. I did not put Paul Skeens on that list because I want Skeens to develop, right? Sure, he might be ready now, but I'd rather this guy build up that workload in the minor leagues, instead of just kind of shoving them out there. I don't think they need to right now. You got to think, the Pirates came into this year. They could contend, maybe they could do some things, but there's not really, in my opinion, there's no reason to rush him right now. I think just keep him going in the minors, keep up building those innings. You'll see Skeens eventually. But it's nice to see Jared Jones doing well. But other than that, not really a whole lot going on. I see you in the chat. Carroll getting exposed. I mean, he's off to a tough start. And the Diamondbacks, they fall really hard in this week's power rankings. I was high on the Diamondbacks coming in, right? Winning the World Series. Had a good offseason for the most part. Exclamation point, adding Jordan Montgomery on the 1-year deal. They've won 3 series this year, losing 2 out of 3 to the Cardinals and the Mariners, right? I believe they picked it up today. Let me just make sure. Did they pull out the win today? Or was that the Mariners? No, the Diamondbacks pulled it out today, 3-2. Ginkel getting the save today. But this Diamondbacks team is very odd. They're pretty. I'm not trying to use this word, because everyone uses it, but they're pretty mid. If that I think we can all agree. I think the Diamondbacks are pretty mid. I mean, when you look at the numbers, I think you would agree too. They're 15th in WRC plus on the year. They're 15th in starting pitching. They're not bad, but they're not good. Defensively, they're pretty good. The bullpen has been kind of for the most part. I don't know. It's just, there's just something not working there, right? And I see you in the chat too. Chris Sampson, a plus 29 run differential. That's why I'm like, I'm waiting for the Diamondbacks to kind of get going here. But it's kind of like you got one half of this team in the lineup that are doing really well, and then the other half are just not, right? A couple of guys that are stepping up here. Gurriel, Ketel Marte, Walker, they're having good years. But Corbin Carroll, I think that's the big issue here. I think Corbin Carroll, he's supposed to be their spark plug. He's supposed to be the guy that gets this lineup going. And this was another guy I featured in my video, guys that need to step up. And he's going through a bit of a sophomore slump right now. When he's going, this whole lineup is going, right? They're just lacking that consistency right now. Eugenio Suarez, he's had a couple of good games, but nothing else really. Jock Peterson's off to a slow start there. Moreno, he's been slumping a little bit. They have been getting some pretty good pitching. They do rank 15th in Fangraph WAR this year, but lately it's been pretty good. Fott, he was good today. 6 innings, 11 Ks against the Mariners. I mean, when you're going up against the Mariners, you're going to get strikeouts, right? Zach Gallen was okay against the Mariners this weekend. He has a bit of a hamstring issue going on right now, so let's keep an eye on that. Jordan Montgomery, he has looked pretty good in his first couple of starts there. 7 innings, 3 earned, and a loss this past weekend. And Ciccone, 6 innings against Seattle. He looked really good too. So they are getting some good pitching. I just feel like this lineup hasn't fully figured it out yet. When they don't got Corbin Carroll going, I think it's just going to hurt that lineup, right? Moving on. Let's go to the Padres. They drop a little bit this week. Swept by the Phillies, losing 2 out of 3 to the Rockies. Bad week for the Padres. Their offense has been good this year. Jerickson Profar has been good. Bogarts has been picking it up lately. Kim, he's been solid. But, not really too much this past week. The big problem with the Padres is the pitching. It's very up and down. Dylan Cease, he has been amazing so far for the Padres. He did get hit pretty good against the Phillies, right? He took the L there. But overall in the year, he has been good. A 2.78 ERA, 10 strikeouts per 9. So he's been a great pickup for them. However, Joe Musgrove has not been having a good year. Joe Musgrove has been a very good pitcher for the last few years, and he is off to a terrible start. I don't know what is going on with him. Yu Darvish, the durability has been a thing. He's back on the IL now. Michael King, he's been up and down. I was big on him coming into the year, but he's been inconsistent. The bullpen and their defense is keeping them in games, right? That's kind of an underrated factor about the Padres right now. Good defensively and a good bullpen, right? They just need the meat and potatoes to really get it going here more consistently. So, but let's see what the Padres do next week. I'm going to look into Joe Musgrove. I think this is a guy I'm eventually going to do the most disappointing players so far at some point. Maybe this week. Maybe I'll do that video this week. And Joe Musgrove, I think, will definitely be on that video. So, yeah, I see you. How do you say it? Brando-san? Michael King, 10 home runs given up. Yeah, he's had a couple of good starts, right? He has looked pretty good in a couple, but he's given up the long ball, man. I'm just saying. Up next, staying in the West, we got San Francisco. They move up here. They move up. Last week, they were lower than this. They move up a couple of spots here. Good week, winning 2 out of 3 against the Mets and the Pirates. Sorry, let me say that again. Winning 2 out of 3 against both the Mets and the Pirates. Offense has been kind of like good in some parts, but not very good in other parts. Yastrzemski, he's been picking it up lately, man. Home run today. Him and Estrada going deep today. Conforto's been hitting pretty well, but everyone else is slumping right now. Blake Snell, sorry, I got to make sure I say that correctly. He had just been terrible. He went on the IL, but they have been getting pretty solid pitching. Webb, he was very good against the Mets, 8 shutout innings. Keaton Winn, I was telling you all, Keaton Winn, look out for Keaton Winn this year. He's been pretty good. He was good against the Pirates and the Mets this week. So, I'm just saying. Giants, hey, they're starting to maybe get this going a little bit. At number 16, we got those Mets. And, the Mets, this might feel a little weird because the Giants did take 2 out of 3. I think now that I'm thinking about it, hindsight, I don't know. I feel like maybe I should put the Giants ahead of the Mets now because they did win the series. I think I got to put the Giants ahead. Yeah, I'm going to make that move. Yep. Let me make that fix here. We're going Mets at 17. And then we're going to go Giants at 16. Yep, that makes more sense in my head now. There we go. Okay, that's done. All right, so 17. 17, we got the Mets. I will say, good win for them today, right? They had a bit of a tough week this week. Very good game for the Mets, right? That was a good game for them today. Vientos, listen, I've been saying for the Mets, man, play your young guys, right? And Vientos, big moment for him today. The walk-off home run. Harrison Bader, he tied it up. Lindor with his 5th home run today. So, but overall, though, not a great week, right? Losing 2 out of 3 to the Cardinals and the Giants. The bats have been cold for the most part. Pete Alonso, 200th home run, though, this past week. He joins Darryl Strawberry, David Wright, Mike Piazza as the only Mets to hit 200 home runs. He is the 4th fastest in Major League Baseball history to reach 200 home runs. It took him 710 games. The only other 3 to get there that fast was Ryan Howard, Aaron Judge, Ralph Kiner. Pretty good company, if you ask me. The starting pitching was okay for the most part this week for the Mets. A bit up and down. Bullpen stepped it up. One guy in particular, everyone, we have to give a shout out to Reed Garrett. Reed Garrett, man, this guy has been sensational. I mean, come on. I mean, sure, he got his 5th win. That's pretty crazy that Reed Garrett has 5-0, right, at this point in the year. I'm just saying. But whatever. The wins and loss record, okay, that's fun. But ERA 0.61. over 14 and 2/3, 27 strikeouts. I mean, I'm just saying. Not a bad start. My goodness. And what's cool about Reed Garrett is that, or the year that he's been having, is this is a guy that has been terrible the last couple of years. He didn't even pitch for a couple of years. I think he debuted in 2019, and I don't think we saw him again until 2022. And then he had back-to-back years where his ERA was over a 6. And he was with the Mets last year too, and he comes to the Mets this year, and he's just been great. So at number 15, let's talk about a red-hot team right now. They were a lot lower last week. They get the bump up to number 15. Remember, I go week to week, right? I don't just reset. So if you're thinking, wow, the Twins, they've been amazing, only 15. Well, they were lower last week. So they get the bump to 15. Very good week for them, sweeping the Angels and the White Sox. They're red hot. Offense is red hot. And actually, I pulled up, instead of just naming players, right? There's too many players to name. I'm just going to pull it up here. Let's actually share the screen. I mean, look at all these guys that have just been absolutely mashing for the Twins. I'm going to zoom in here so that way you can get a better look. I mean, holy cow. Edward Julian, 417 average the last 7 games, slugging 917. How about Ryan Jeffers slugging 714? Castro, 655 slugging over his last 7. Carlos Santana, he has finally picked it up. He's slugging 731 with a few homers. Kepler, Larnach, Buxton have homered. I mean, this offense is unbelievable right now. I mean, look at all this. Look at all this beef. I mean, my goodness, this is more beef than Arby's. Are you kidding me? These are 8 guys that are just absolutely going banana. No, I'll even bring up Jose Miranda. He's even doing something. This is more beef than Arby's. My goodness. Look at this. You got 9 guys this past week that are just tearing the cover off the ball. I'm just saying. Give it up for the Twinkies. Let's get back to the rankings here. Where was I? There we go. But it's not just the offense doing well for the Twins. Their pitching has been pretty good. Chris Paddock picking up a couple of wins this week against the Angels and the White Sox, looking pretty good. Bailey Ober looked really good against the Angels, 7 1/3, 8 Ks, 2 earned. Simeon Woods Richardson looks like maybe he's finally starting to come into his own. He's had a couple of good starts so far. He only had two appearances in the majors before 2024. Remember, they brought him over in the trade with the Blue Jays with Barrios. And he's looked all right so far. 11 innings, 3 earned. Got the win against the White Sox. Hey, he's coming into his own. Pablo Lopez, he was all right today. You know, not amazing. 5 innings, 4 earned. Gave up a couple of home runs today, but he struck out 8 Angels today. But right now, the Twins, they're red hot. They're playing very well. Give it up for the Twins. And you know what? I'm actually feeling the Twins. Do I want to make another audible? I feel like I might make another audible here. Man, I was feeling good about my rankings, but it's when I see them live and I start talking about it out loud, I almost think, like, is it audible time? Maybe I'm not quite there yet. No, I'm going to stick with it at number 14. I'm going to stay. I'm going to give it another week. Number 14, I got the Reds. Not as good of a week as the Twins, right? So the Twins were here last week. Reds were here, and they've kind of come a little closer this past week. But the Reds, you know, they split with the Phillies, lost 2 out of 3 to the Rangers. The bats have been up and down. Well, actually, the bats have not been great this past week. 29th in offense this past week. Ellie De La Cruz, he's still hitting well. Jonathan India is starting to pick it up a little bit, but offense has been slumping. They've been getting some good pitching, right? Hunter Green, Abbott, Lodolo, Ashcraft, they all turned in pretty good starts. Hunter Green against the Rangers looked great. 7 shutout innings, 6 strikeouts. But, the Reds, they just need to, pick it up a little bit more next week. Let's see if the Twins can leapfrog them next week. And number 13, we got the Tigers. Scooble because continuing with his Cy Young campaign, that was my Cy Young pick coming into this year, and Skubal has been looking great. He's been looking so good, man, and he looked awesome today. 7 innings, struck out 6, only gave up an home run. Very good. Overall, a good week for the Tigers, winning 2 out of 3 against the Rays and the Royals. The offense, though. What is going on here with this Tigers offense, man? Like, it was the same thing last year, but Torkelson, bad start. Javier Baez. I don't think Javier Baez is ever going to be able to recover his bat. I'm not confident in that. I'm just not. Is that unfair of me to say that I don't think Javier Baez is ever going to get this bat going again? I don't know, man. Like, it just looks ridiculous. I don't know, man. Combat Jones, Baez may be cooked. I don't know, man. I don't want to be unfair, right? I don't want to sound, like a jerk. I'm not trying to, but like Baez is just like, I want him to start getting some better results, and I don't know. One guy that's getting good results, though, he's actually been one of the best offseason additions. I can't wait to do that video this week. Mark Canha. Mark Canha has been really good for the Tigers. Had a double today. He's having a really good year, hitting .272, has a .916 OPS, 5 home runs, 15 RBIs on the year. Mark Canha, give it up for him. I hope I'm not going to botch this. Wenceel Perez, did I get that right? I hope I did. Wenceel Perez, first career home run today. He was the number 20 prospect for the Tigers coming into this year, and he's been hitting well, hitting .286 with an .873 OPS. But the Tigers, they had themselves a good week. Good week. Number 12, we got the Rangers. Up and down week for the Rangers, losing 2 out of 3 to the Mariners, winning 2 out of 3 against the Reds. Just mentioned that. 11th in WRC plus on the year, so that offense is looking good. Evan Carter, Smith, they've been hitting well. Wyatt Langford, first home run. I'm surprised it wasn't just an absolute bomb. It was the opposite. Wyatt Langford, first career home run, inside the park home run. I guess Wyatt Langford has a good set of wheels, too. Goodness gracious. Wyatt Langford is going to be an absolute beast. Adolis Garcia, 2-run home run today. That's his 8th on the year. The pitching has been a bit up and down. Dane Dunning looked really good today. 5 1/3, 10 strikeouts. Evaldi looked pretty good against the Reds. 6 innings, 8 Ks. So those two turned in some good starts. But, other guys, Heaney, not looking great. Another shout out. I love doing these shout outs. How about Kirby Yates? Kirby Yates. Everyone. Is Kirby Yates back? Give me a thumbs up in the chat. Are we back to 2019 Kirby Yates? 5 years later? Thumbs up or thumbs down? I think we might have 2019 Kirby Yates back. Did not see this one coming. 5th save today. He has pitched 12 innings this year. He has struck out 14 batters, and he has not given up a run. Kirby Yates. I'm saying Kirby Yates is back. You know what? I'm even going to put thumbs ups in the chat. I'm even going to do it. I'm going to put my own thumbs up in the chat because I think Kirby Yates is back. I'm just saying. Number 11. The Mariners. All right, here we go. Mariners picking it up here. Great week for the Mariners. They've been playing some good baseball, winning 2 out of 3 against the Diamondbacks and the Rangers this week. This is what I got the Mariners ahead of the Rangers, is they just won 2 out of 3 against them this week. They're getting great starting pitching. Great starting pitching. Logan Gilbert looked amazing, right? 6 innings, 2 earned, 9 Ks today. And then his start prior, 6 2/3, 0 earned against the Rangers. He has looked fantastic this past week. George Kirby looked so good against the Diamondbacks. 7 shutout innings, 12 strikeouts. Emerson Hancock had himself a good start this week. 6 innings, getting the win against the D-backs. Luis Castillo, he's looking all right. The bats did cool off a little bit this past week. You still got Julio Rodriguez, Crawford hitting pretty well, France with a couple of home runs, but a bit of an up and down week for the offense. The pitching carried them this week. Everyone, before I do get to the top 10, we got to go over tonight's sponsor, and that is BetUS. Everyone, listen, I'm doing pretty good on my bets. I'm doing pretty good. And actually, I'm going to show you some bets that I made this past weekend. I'm going to pull them up here for you. I actually got pretty busy this past week. Let me show you here. So, the last couple of days, I placed 5 bets. I won 4 of them. Right? So, taking a look here, I need to see which one. Okay, so I won this one. So I had the Nationals beating the Marlins. I had the Nationals finishing off the sweep. So I got that one right today. Another one that I did, I had the White Sox finishing off the sweep against the Rays. That was in my opinion, I felt like that was a bit of a risky pick, but I threw down 20 on that one, and I won that one. And then the one that I lost, everyone. Oh, wait, no, that wasn't it. That was, where was the one that I lost? I believe, well, that's not the right one. Well, I don't know why that one's not popping up. Let me see. Nope, that wasn't the right one. Well, I threw down, I don't know where it is, but I threw down one against for the Guardians to win today against the Braves, and that one was looking really good. I threw down $20 on that one, and then Gaddis just blows it in the 8th inning. I was so cheesed off about that because I'm thinking, oh man, I'm like hot on my bets over the last couple of days, and I'm thinking I'm going to get this one right too. The Guardians winning 2 out of 3 against the Braves, and then Gaddis comes in and just ruins the whole thing. So, or do they got another one tomorrow? Nate, it's a 4-game series? Do they have another one tomorrow? Or is that what you're talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, but I was sad about that one today. So, as you can see, though, I'm not just, promoting BetUS. I'm actually, playing as well. So, I'm just saying. But there's a whole bunch of different ways to play. And tomorrow, they have a whole bunch of game odds for tomorrow. We got a lot of action tomorrow, actually. So if I'm taking like a quick peek, what I tend to do personally is I look at the road, the teams on the road, right? Because those tend to be the ones that get the plus odds, right? So like, so the Nationals and the Marlins, so they have another one tomorrow. So, okay. Well, all right then. Well, I might even still go with the Nationals this one. What I do is I look to see, okay, what teams on the road that have plus odds could I go with? And then I go look at the pitching matchups. I just go pull up probable pitchers. I go look at those matchups, right? And if I see a matchup that I like, I'll go with that, right? So there's a whole bunch of games on tomorrow, right? So the Diamondbacks are at plus 127 at home. Against the Dodgers, who've been hot. I don't know if that's a great matchup. I mean, the Yankees, they had themselves a great weekend. And the Orioles, they just lost, pretty, I guess you can call it a heartbreaker today. So maybe the Yankees plus 121 going into Baltimore. The Yankees have been playing really well this past weekend. Maybe that could be a good one, right? The Blue Jays have been a bit cold, so maybe the Royals could be a good one tomorrow. So there's definitely already a few that I'm probably going to throw down some bets on, right? So go check it out for yourself. I already showed you the bets that I made this past weekend. I made 5 of them, and I won 4 of them. I'm just saying. But go check it out, everyone. They have a great deal going right now. Your first 3 deposits, you get a 125% bonus. Take advantage of that. The link is in the description down below. Even just signing up, clicking on that link and signing up, it really helps support the channel. It goes a long way. You don't know how far that goes just by clicking the link and signing up. So it really helps support the channel. But go win yourself some cash. Go see if you can win yourself a few bucks. I won myself a few bucks this weekend. If my potato brain can do it, you can too. So let's get back to the show. We're in the top 10. Ooh, I'm excited. I'm excited about the top 10 because there's a team I haven't talked about yet. Can you figure out what team I have not talked about yet? I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know. Here we go. Number 10, we got the Cubs. Oh, who did the Cubs just play this past week? I don't know. But losing 2 out of 3 to my Red Sox. How about Tyler O'Neill? I'm just saying. But, hey, sure, they lost 2 out of 3 to the Red Sox, but they swept the Astros. So, I'm not going to say the Cubs had a terrible week, right? The offense was a little cold for them, but Talkman, man, this guy, he had been hitting really well coming into tonight, and then he had the 3-run home run tonight to tie the game. Like that one just sunk me. I'm like, God, really? But anyway, he's been hitting great. Nico Horner's been solid. But the guy that we got to talk about is Shota Imanaga. Who would have thought? I mean, I'm eating my own words. Well, kind of. Who would have thought Imanaga would be having a better year at this point than Yamamoto? Who saw this one coming? Did anyone see this one coming? I'm just saying. But Imanaga's been great. He looked great against my Red Sox on Friday. 6 1/3, 1 earned, 7 Ks. He just seems unhittable. I don't know. This guy has been nuts. 27 2/3, a 0.98 ERA, a 2.40 FIP, 9 strikeouts per 9, 0.9 walks per 9. Imanaga is great. I remember in the offseason, I was saying, Red Sox, please do not sign Imanaga. Please. I was saying it. I'm a man to my word. I'll absolutely say it. Yeah, I was completely opposed because I didn't think the velocity was going to transfer over. Then I started warming up to the idea. I was like, okay, you know what? Imanaga, okay, as a 3 or a 4 in a rotation, I think that could be pretty solid. I guess where I was coming from was I didn't like that people were kind of considering him as an ace. And I'm like, I don't know if I think of him as an ace. I would like him for a mid-rotation guy, but that's as much as I warmed up to it. And I'm absolutely eating my words. Shota, I am sorry. You are amazing. You are fantastic. Cubs fans, I apologize for my words because he's been great. Jameson Taillon, he's looked all right. He had a bad year last year. He picked up the win against the Astros, 5 2/3 innings pitched, picking up the win. But who cares about the Cubs? How about the team that just beat the Cubs 2 out of 3? How about my Red Sox making an appearance in the top 10, losing 2 out of 3 to Cleveland, but winning 2 out of 3 against the Cubs this weekend. 17 runs on Saturday, a massive outburst on the runs, man. My goodness. That's where that is at a time when you've been having a lot of guys going down. You've been having a lot of injuries. Tristan Casas, who knows how long he's going to be out. Torn cartilage in the rib cage. Bringing in Garrett Cooper. And I will say this. Garrett Cooper gives me Mike Karp kind of vibes. Any 2013 Red Sox fans in here? Remember Mike Karp? Remember him? He was, guy that came in and he was just a pretty solid player for them overall. Garrett Cooper gives me those same kind of vibes. I'm just saying. But Cedar Rafaela, 4 for 4 in the 17-run game against the Cubs. Hit a homer, hit a couple of doubles, 7 RBIs. Cedar Rafaela, have yourself some ice cream. Tyler O'Neill, he doesn't even have to hit it out of the yard to win the game for you. He had a high fly ball that, unfortunately, Dansby Swanson, I will give him some credit because that was a tough play. Very tough play. Swanson, out of anyone out there, probably had the best chance of getting a play like that done. And that was just tough, man. He had his back turned to it. He was just trying to catch it like this, and good effort from him. But Tyler O'Neill, the biceps are just too big for Dansby Swanson to handle. I'm just saying. Rafael Devers, he's back at third base now. There's a bit of a controversy this past week. Masataka Yoshida had been out of the lineup, and the main reason is because Rafael Devers was not ready to play third. He'd been having some issues with his shoulder, so Devers was at DH, leaving Yoshida pretty much in no man's land. And I saw a lot of people out there saying, well, why not play Yoshida out in left field? Listen, Masataka Yoshida was not good defensively last year in left field. I respect people's opinions. I do. But you just need to go look at the numbers. I see what people are saying, right? You want to have Yoshida's bat in the lineup. But defensively, he hurts the team, right? So that's where, and there was a bit of controversy. People are saying like, oh, is there something going on with Cora and Yoshida? Yoshida's upset about this. But no, it was purely defense, right? He is strictly a DH in Alex Cora's eyes, right? Yeah. So I don't know. I understood why people wanted Yoshida out there, but I also understood why he wasn't out there because his defense was that bad. Anyway, back in the lineup now, so no more, nothing else going on there. The pitching has been the story for the Red Sox this year. Coming into the year, everyone was saying, wow, this Red Sox starting pitching is bad. I've been the only one, maybe not the only one. There's been a couple others, but I feel like I've been one guy that's been saying Andrew Bailey can do things for this Red Sox staff. There are guys that have some good things about them on this staff, and Bailey has come in with a plan. He has gotten this pitching staff just in such a great spot. I said it to Scott Braun on Foul Territory where, him and the guys over Foul Territory, they do amazing stuff. But, he was saying to me, Robbie, this Andrew Bailey is not going to be able to fix this or be the only thing that is going to help this Red Sox rotation. They need Jordan Montgomery. I would have loved Jordan Montgomery. But Andrew Bailey has been amazing. And I said that to him, and I said, hey, Andrew Bailey did a lot of good things with the Giants. Don't be surprised if he does it with the Red Sox too. But anyway, Houck, he looked good this past week. Looked good against Cleveland, took the L, but he looked good against the Cubs tonight. Cutter Crawford, bad start against the Cubs the other night. Cooper Criswell, he's been a guy that's been stepping up for the Red Sox. So also keep an eye out for Naoki Uwasawa. He got called up to the Red Sox. Joely Rodriguez getting designated for assignment. That's enough of my Red Sox for the week. They make the top 10. If this is the only week they make the top 10, you know what? I'm happy with it. They're playing pretty good lately, and they've been having a lot of injuries. So, number 8, we got the Royals, losing 2 out of 3 to the Tigers, splitting with the Blue Jays. The bats were a bit cold this week for Kansas City. Bobby Witt, though, he's been pretty good. He had the lone RBI today. Salvador Perez, Makeout Garcia, they've been hitting well. That's pretty much it, though. This Royals offense, they really need to kind of start getting back to the whole lineup doing some things, right? Reagan's got the W against the Blue Jays, 5 innings. Seth Lugo looked pretty good against the Tigers. 7 shutout innings, 9 Ks. Kansas City, they got off to that really good start, and it just feels like they're kind of going back and forth here the last couple of weeks. I feel like they're steadily kind of like coming down here, right? I think I had them number 4 at one point, but again, it's early. But I like this Royals team, man. I don't know how long they'll last. We'll see. I like the way they've been looking here, but this is a team where I said coming into the year, yeah, they had a great offseason. They made a lot of good moves, young players. They're going to take that next step this year. Cole Reagans, it's not every day you just pick up an ace, right? And he's really stepped into that role. Guys are stepping up in the rotation. The bullpen's been stepping up. It's been a team that's been together so far this year. But I wonder if they're going to be like the Pirates last year, where the Pirates had that really good first month and then they just kind of fell off. I'm wondering if it's going to be that. I don't know. I hope not, because I like when these smaller market teams do well. I think it's good for the game. Number 7. we have the Milwaukee Brewers. Winning 2 out of 3 against the Pirates. But then they got pounded this past weekend. They walked off the Yankees in the first game. Joey Ortiz getting the walk-off base hit. But what the heck happened to the Brewers the last couple of days? Holy cow. My goodness, that pitching got shellacked the last couple of days. I think it was 28 combined runs over the last couple of days. I know the Yankees got some bats, but what in the heck happened to the Brewers? Adames has been looking pretty good lately, right? He tied it up the other night before the walk-off eventually from Ortiz. Had an RBI today, so he's been hitting well. Contreras, Hoskins, they've been hitting well. So, the Brewers' offense has been really good this year, which is a nice thing to see because in the last couple of years, it just hasn't really been there all that much. And these guys are stepping up while Yelich has been out. So, but the starting pitching this year, they don't have the pitching. That's one thing I worried about with the Brewers, but they've been figuring it out. Their bullpen has been really stepping up. That's been a big key for them. So, not a bad week, right? Because they did win their series earlier in the week, but then they just got nailed against the Yankees, man. Moving on to number 6, we got the Phillies. How about the Phillies? Pretty good week for the Phillies, right? Splitting with the Reds, but they swept the Padres this past weekend. The Bats, they're pretty hot. And Alec Boehm is red hot. If you're in fantasy right now, and if for some reason Alec Boehm is a free agent or someone for some reason dropped him, go pick up Alec Boehm. This guy is nasty over the last 7 games. He's hitting over 500 the last 7 games. Go get Alec Boehm if you're in fantasy. Holy cow. Trey Turner's been having a great year. Bryce Harper's having a good year. They're getting amazing pitching lately. First in starting pitching on the year. Second in starting pitching this past week. Wheeler, Nola, Suarez, Turnbull. They're all putting in good starts right now. Taijuan Walker, he made his debut today after having some shoulder issues to begin the year. But the Phillies, they're looking pretty good right now. Like what the Phillies are doing. Just actually double checking where the Phillies, so they've won 4 straight now. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They're looking fantastic. I like what they're doing. Actually, do I want to bump them up? Nah, I'm okay with the Phillies here. They moved up a couple of spots from last week. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay with this. Number 5, we got the Guardians. Now, I want to give the Guardians some credit here, right? They played a really good series against the Braves this past weekend. Very good series, right? Bybee pitched great Saturday night, 7 shutout innings, looked fantastic. Ben Lively looked good today until freaking Gaddis came in and blew it. Blew my bet. I was about to win I threw down $20 on the Guardians today, thinking, oh man, I'm gonna go for the unthinkable. The Guardians are gonna win 2 out of 3, or I guess they're playing tomorrow too, right? Playing tomorrow. Are they playing again tomorrow? No, they're not playing again. So it was only a 3-game set. So I'm thinking, wow, the Guardians are going to come into Atlanta and win 2 out of 3. And it was looking great in the 8th inning. And then freaking Gaddis blew it. So that stunk for them. But the offense, though, right? You can't just blame it all on Gaddis because the offense hasn't really been doing all that much, right? J-Ram's hitting okay. But the offense overall is only 20th this past week. So they got to start hitting the ball, man. That was one thing I came into this year a little worried about the offense, right? Pitching, I like their pitching. I do. I mean, I liked their staff coming into the year. Go to my season preview. I like their pitching. And the bullpen has been great. Clase came in today. I'm just saying, he was looking good. But, hey, they won 2 out of 3 against my Red Sox this week. I forgot to mention that earlier, right? Well, no, I think I did. I think I mentioned that. But no, give them a credit, man. Against the Braves, that powerful of a lineup, and they just went toe-to-toe with them in Atlanta. That looked good. Got a super chat coming in. Jimmy Productions, $9.99. What are your thoughts on Mitchell Parker of the Nationals? He made his first MLB start against the Dodgers 2 weeks ago and beat him against the Astros. Yeah, Jimmy, I actually mentioned Mitchell Parker when I talked about the Nationals. I had the Nationals at 21. Yeah, Mitchell Parker, I'll go over these numbers again. 3 starts, 16 innings, a 1.69 ERA, a 1.78 FIP, 1.1 walks per 9. Mitchell Parker has been fantastic, Jimmy Productions. This is kind of what the Nationals need, all right? Because you got, the names that they have, right? Gore, Josiah Gray, not Patrick Corbin. Goodness gracious. What happened to Patrick Corbin? I know this has been like a thing baseball fans have been talking about for the last, 3 years now. But, what the heck happened to that guy? Why is it every time? Well, I think he pitched pretty good against the Dodgers his last time out. But, what the heck, man? What in the world? Corbin, he just... I don't get it. Yeah, there was another... I see you in the chat. Joe Hill, super chat. Let me pull up that actual super chat here, because I knew there was one. There it is, Joe Hill. Oh, it was from you. It was from you, Mr. Joe. Thank you, my friend. $5 from Joe Hill. Hot take, Verlander is wearing the old English D after the trade deadline. Going back to Detroit. I would love that. I'd love that. I think the Tigers need bats. Can Verlander hit? I think they need some bats. I'm just saying. That would be pretty fun, though. Will he want to leave Houston? I don't know, man. I wonder if he would want to leave. Jordan Ramirez, $5 super chat. I love the Tigers, but man, they are bad for my mental health and blood pressure. That game tonight was bad for my mental health and blood pressure. My goodness. Yeah, the Tigers, they need bats. They really do. They really do. Speaking of games, everyone. Well, actually, I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, where was I? I was at the Guardians. Okay. But yeah, hey, give them some credit, man. They played very hard this weekend against the Braves. So, number 4. I got the Yankees. I know. Now, I'm kind of struggling with this one in my head. Hear me out. I kind of struggled with the 3rd and 4th spot this week. I can already hear Yankee fans coming after me. I can already hear it because I'm debating. We've already done a couple audibles. I might actually make the audible right here, right now. The reason is, I'll get to the other team in a minute. Well, let me talk about the Yankees here. I'm not fully set on them at 4. Not fully set. But let's talk about the Yankees, right? They split with Oakland. And like I said, Oakland's been playing pretty tough this year. But then they just completely stole the show against the Brewers, right? 28 runs the last couple of days. The offense has been just really good. Aaron Judge, Rizzo with his 300th home run today. Let me rephrase that. Judge homer today. Rizzo with his 300th home run today. Gleyber Torres did something. He had an RBI single today. Alex Verdugo has been hot over his last 7 games, hitting .292, a .387 slugging, 387 on base, .542 slugging, 2 home runs in the last 7 games. How about Alex Verdugo? Juan Soto is still pretty much the greatest player alive right now. 2 home runs this past week. Juan Soto, I definitely think there's going to be a big case for him winning the MVP. The pitching has been a little up and down with the Yankees. Carlos Rodon looked really good against the Brewers. 6 innings, 8 strikeouts. Luis Gil, though, got knocked around. 5 earned against the Brewers. Marcus Stroman was kind of today. 4 innings, 4 earned. But the Yankees, though, they looked really good this weekend. And at number 3, I have the Orioles, and I'm kind of stuck here. Because the Orioles lost 2 out of 3 to the A's. And they also won 2 out of 3 against the Angels. But the Orioles have looked really good pretty much the entire year so far, right? The Yankees are really close. The Orioles, I don't know, man. I just like where they're ranking in some spots. Like if I'm pulling up the Orioles here, the Orioles are 3rd in WRC+. The Yankees are 5th. The Orioles starting pitching overall coming into today was 13th. Yankees was 16th. Orioles bullpen was 7th. Yankees was 13th. Yankees are 5th in defense. Orioles are 9th. So, but today, kind of just, that might have actually flipped the switch, right? I think I am going to make the move. I think I'm going to do it. Because the Yankees, the way they freaking swung the bats today, man, oh man. But let me talk about the Orioles really quick. Offense has been doing well. Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, they've been hot. Jordan Westberg, he's been hitting well. They have been getting some pretty good pitching, minus today. Obviously not coming through against the A's. Cole Irvin did pitch well against Oakland this past week. Corbin Burns, Kramer did look pretty good this past week. John Means looking pretty good in a rehab start, so he should be back at some point. But yeah, again, it's kind of one of those things like remember, I can always change my rankings, right? Because there's times where when I'm focused on it all day and I'm just kind of putting it together, it might sound right in my head at the time, but when I start talking about it, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to make the change, right? And I kind of noticed it. I'm going to put the Yankees at number 3 because their offense was just freaking insane today, right? And we're going to put the Orioles at number 4. It makes sense. It makes sense. So, Yankee fans, don't kill me, right? Listen, if there's any YouTuber out there that's given the most respect to the Yankees other than Yankee fan, I think I've even given more respect to the Yankees than Yankee channels out there, for crying out loud. I have Yankee fans, so don't even come after me. But where are the Orioles? Here we go. Yeah, so I'm going to make the move. I'm going to put the Yankees at number 3. Orioles at number 4. Where I was kind of going with that was just kind of leading up to this point. I think the Orioles, I felt like had looked a little better. The Yankees kind of were a little up and down at some points, but I think this past weekend really changed that for me. The Yankees looked really good. So, Yankees at 3. Number 2, we got the Dodgers. And listen, Dodgers are kicking the crap out of everyone right now. I mean, they're looking really good. 2 out of 3 against the Blue Jays. Blue Jays picked up the win today. Kevin Gausman looked great, but they swept the Nationals. Offense has just been good. They're now first overall in WRC Plus on the year. They had 2 games this past week where they scored 10 or more runs. Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Will Smith, Andy Pages has been hitting really well since getting called up. Freeman homered today in a loss, but Dodgers offense has been looking really good. Starting pitching has been looking really good too. Talked about Imanaga earlier. Yamamoto, I think he's starting to come into his own a bit. It took him a few starts, but I think you're starting to see Yamamoto get into a bit of a rhythm here. 6 shutout innings this past week, 7 strikeouts. Glasnow looked really good against the Blue Jays. Can Glasnow just stop having issues? His hand was cramping, so he had to come out of the game. Well, I don't get it. Why is there always something wrong with Glasnow? I don't get it. Landon Knack, Gavin Stone, they picked up W's this past week. The Dodgers just looked really good this past week. So they're at number 2 for me. And at number 1, the Braves stay. Great week for the Braves. Very hard-fought series against the Guardians. 2 out of 3. Sweeping the Marlins early in the week. And again, the Braves offense, it's been so good this year, but the Dodgers offense got red hot this past week, and the Dodgers moved into first overall. Braves are now second. To me, the Braves offense, we can talk about it, right? They got the walk-off today. Hey, they came alive when they needed to. Not really a whole lot to talk about, in my personal opinion, with the Braves offense this past week. Marcell Ozuna, he's been hitting well. But the Braves pitching has been huge this past week. Let's just go through it, shall we? Max Fried, complete game shutout against the Marlins. Bryce Elder looked okay today. He's looked pretty good so far. Chris Sale picking up the win against the Guardians. Charlie Morton looked really good against Tanner Bybee on Saturday. They had a bit of a duel going on. You like that. But Reynaldo Lopez Reynaldo freaking Lopez. This guy has been great. He's been so good. What a great pickup. He is absolutely one of the best offseason additions. I'm just saying. There he is. SoundFX09, $10 super chat. Braves remain number one, swept the Marlins and beat the Guardians in a hard-fought series. Challenging 6-game road trip this week. 3 at Seattle, then 3 at Los Angeles. That should be pretty fun. Ozuna for player of the month. 1 through 4 lineup shakeup needed. Yeah, maybe he might make a couple of things. You know this. Come on, Sound FX. You know this Braves team. They're going to be fine. They'll be all right. Yeah, maybe move a couple of guys. Maybe kind of switch it up maybe for a game or so. But you know what? They're going to be okay. They'll be all right. Ronald Acuna, man, towards the end of today, he got into it. I think he just hit one up the middle. I was watching the game. Just a great-looking hit. He looks like that timing is starting to come back a little bit. But it's funny with Ronald Acuna, right? We were all talking about him last year, and I feel like he's been one of the least talked about players this year so far. I would say probably the most talked about player. I feel like the one that I've heard about the most, maybe it's because I'm a Red Sox fan, but I feel like Juan Soto has been the guy that's been talked about the most. And Ohtani, right? But anyway, everyone, those are my power rankings this week. I'm just going through. Jack Campbell, $5 super chat. Oakland just beat the Orioles in a series, and the Yankees scored 36 runs in the past 3 games. Not close. Yeah, we had to make that switch, right? And again, I'm usually setting up my power rankings throughout the day, so I put in a lot of preparation for these power rankings. So sometimes when I'm focusing on other teams, because I remember when I had the Yankees at 4, I think it was a closer game at that time. So, yeah, definitely the change was needed. They had a very good weekend overall. Everyone, I'm going to start wrapping this up. Speaking of the Yankees, I'm going to my first ever Red Sox-Yankees game, June 15th at Fenway Park. My birthday is June 13th, so I thought, you know what? I remember seeing on the calendar, like a few months ago when they came out with the schedule, I saw, Red Sox-Yankees in Boston on my birthday weekend. I had to get tickets. I had to. So I'm going to Boston the weekend of June 14th, I guess. And I'm going to a Red Sox-Yankees game. First time ever I'll be seeing a Red Sox-Yankees game at Fenway Park. So if anyone does go to that game, and if you see my potato face, say hello, and I will say hello back to you probably. But yeah, I'm excited for that. I was pretty pumped up. I ordered the tickets today, and I'm like, all right, Red Sox-Yankees. I'm excited for it. So everyone, I'm going to wrap this up here. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for the super chats tonight. If you can on the way out, hit that like button for me. Hit that bell notification. I got a lot of videos coming out for this coming week. Share the show for the replay viewers. Subscribe if you are new. And everyone, again, check out BetUS. The link is down below in the description. Simply just signing up, making a deposit, it goes a long way in supporting the channel. I can't stress that enough. They've been huge supporters of this channel. Right? I can't thank them enough for what they do. But definitely go check them out and go see if you can win yourself some cash this week. Make sure you play responsibly. That is the most important thing at the end of the day. But everyone, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Have yourself a great night. I will see you next Sunday night. Be on the lookout for the videos this coming week. Lots of uploads coming this week. And I'll talk to you next time. That's the wrong button.